What's up, everybody? Welcome in. If you can hear me, just leave a chat down or leave a comment down in the chat if you can't hear me, I guess. But I'm pleased to have everybody join in here talking about one of my favorite products that you've seen me post a lot about, TurfMend. And I'm pleased to have Jeff here, owner of TurfMend. So thanks for being here, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was introduced to TurfMend last season. I don't know how I don't even remember how we touched base and connected with each other.
Social media somehow, I think.
Yeah, I think Instagram or Facebook. But yeah, I'd seen your stuff and definitely suffered in the past with some areas in my yard that needed patching, whether it be grub damage, fungus issues and stuff. So I had patched a lot in the past, and I discovered your product. I've used a lot of the other products, the patching products on the market, with not as good a success as I had with TurfMend, but love your stuff, and I'm just appreciate everybody being here. And I just kind of want to give kind of the goal for tonight is if you have questions, drop them in the comment box, and we'll just kind of give a brief background of TurfMend, and I'll talk a little bit about my experience, and Jeff will talk a little bit about TurfMend and his background, and we'll go from there. But if you have questions, just be sure to drop them down in the comments, and we'll try to get to them. So Jeff, I mean, I know we had talked a little bit before we went live. So, I mean, if you could just give everybody a little, some details about your background and how TurfMend came about and how long it's been around.
Sure. My whole family are attorneys, and so I'm kind of the black sheep of the family. And I went to turf school at Kansas State University, graduated in 2004. Did some internships at really nice golf courses and was in the golf industry for probably about 15 years, including all my internships. And then once I left the golf industry, I had a good buddy of mine reach out, was having trouble with his divots. So I gave him my formulation, and he called me up and said, "You should sell this stuff." And I was like, never even thought about it. But we became business partners for a little bit. And then eventually me and my wife bought him out. So now me and her own 100% of the company. And I guess we started that in August of 2017. We moved. I went full time right about a year and a half ago. Moved from Washington State to Evansville just to kind of be more central, better customer service for all my distributors and be able to travel a little easier. So now we have the sand product, which we started with, sand, peat moss, grass seed. And then we started with the compost product last year. And then we kind of reinvented it this year with a nice, cleaner, more even granulated compost, no dust. And then starting next weekend, I think all the products will be on HomeDepot.com. So it's going to save a lot of money for shipping. I know people were frustrated with their prices, and so we're excited to be able to use Home Depot's shipping rates and get it for a lot more affordable.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very excited about that. So it's been a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, just from like when I started using it last year, I've seen that, and I'm using it this year, kind of just the development you've taken over the last year, like you said, in different formulation of the compost and stuff. So I guess the question I get asked a lot from people is, what makes this different than other, like your competing products? I know we've talked about it personally, but you go to a big box store and you see some of those other products on the shelf, like. Can you just speak to like what makes TurfMend different?
I can't speak for what they do, but our product is 100% yard waste. It's all natural. It's not registered organic, but I would say for the most part it's organic. It's leaves and yard compost. And the cool thing about compost is if you have a dog spot or something and your pH is very acidic due to that dog spot, it helps to neutralize the soil and allows grass to to grow again. And I think that's why a lot of homeowners buy it, because dog issues typically, right?
Yep.
The dog
Yep.
urinates in the yard, it kills it. So put TurfMend down, and it usually, most of the time, it grows. So
Yeah, absolutely. I would say probably, at least, and I can speak to my experience with other products, and I won't go into specifics on those, but just with the TurfMend, I think the biggest difference I've noticed is, like you said, I've never used the sand mixture, but I've used the compost mixture, and I've had success with TurfMend spring, fall, and in the middle of summer, which is usually like I really haven't had success with other products, and I think that with minimal that compost, I don't have to water it as much. It keeps that seed moist, especially in the heat, um, for a longer period of time. So I know, like, it made it easier for me when I was working when I had to go for work and I wasn't here to water it throughout the day. I'd hit it in the morning and maybe in the evening, but it would definitely stay moist longer for me.
one of the things we try to use is always we use Barenberger Jacqueline professional seed. We don't use
Yeah.
lower quality seed, and I never will. I think allowing homeowners and consumers to have the best quality product, I think that's important to me, and that's been part of our brand since day one.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's what I've liked about it as well is just I think the quality. I mean, from like you said, you got quality seed, quality compost. It's not cheap mix of stuff that's junk that you're putting down into your yard. And I know a lot of people, when you get into more of the lawn fanatic people, that DIY lawn community, they like to know what they're getting and they like to not put crap in their yard. So I think that's what has helped out big time with this product. Because I mean, I always tell people, like, no matter how good the yard looks online, there's always problems with it. I mean, so it's nice to have a product like TurfMend just sitting in my garage to where if I have an issue, I can put it down and I know it's going to sprout very quickly. That's the other thing I've experienced with your product is just the speed of germination. So I don't know if that's due to the compost or keeping it moist longer, etc. But I've definitely had quicker germination as opposed to just using straight up seed down in those areas.
I mean, we work with some really high-end golf courses, high-end sports fields, and they get the same product as we're selling to homeowners. To me, that's really important just to make sure they're successful with it and they get a quality product, because there's a lot of people like you out there. They want a really nice lawn, and I don't want to put annual grasses in there or weed seeds or whatever. I used to be in the turf industry, and I want it to be quality. So I think hopefully people appreciate that.
Yeah, so I know you've posted a lot about traveling around to certain places and the cool places that you have TurfMend at, the pro facilities, and so it's been awesome to know that you could put that kind of quality stuff down. That I'm using that stuff in my yard, and that's the kind of stuff that the pros are using too, and it just speaks to the quality of it. So here's a question from Steven. What kind of grass is it? So yeah, I mean, yes, but I'll let you speak to that.
So coming to Home Depot, we're gonna have 8-pound bags of Sun and Shade, which will be rye and fine fescue. Then we'll have a tall fescue, which will be a 3-way mix of tall fescue. We're gonna have a Sunny mix, which is 100% 3-way mix of ryegrass. We're gonna have a blue, which is a 70-30 blue rye. And then we're going to have a Bermuda mix, which will be a 3-way mix of Bermuda seed. So they're all either Barenberg or Jacqueline professional grade grass seed.
Awesome. So you're basically just shipping off of Home Depot's website. Is that going to be in stores or just online?
Just online right now. So we just the freight has gone up so high that my prices reflect that, and it's it's frustrating. We've had a lot of people on the website and they comment on prices, and we've been working hard over the past few weeks to get it transitioned over. And there's a company JB Instant Lawn. It's a sod company in Oregon. They we did a co-branding with them, and they have 8-pound bags, and they have our logo on them as well. So they're on Home Depot. They're in Home Depot in Oregon, Washington, and they're going to be doing all the fulfillment and then shipping out for us. So very excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you'll still be selling off your website too.
I'm going to be taking it off my website just so people can afford it. It's going to be a lot cheaper. So
yeah,
we're going to do swag on our website. So we have sweatshirts and we have the tumblers right now, and we'll get hats again. But
and these awesome hoodie tees and
so
hats.
You
guys do have.
It's important that people can afford it, and
mm-hmm.
you know the prices were $120 to $140, and it's it's kind of embarrassing to sell it for that, but with the shipping, we had to. So
yeah, that's a big hurdle, especially when you're offering free shipping. Somebody that's not always free.
Yeah,
somebody's got to pay for it.
So
yeah, and the stuff that the cost of things like that have went up considerably. So no, definitely, that's awesome though. I didn't know that you were branching out into Home Depot. So
yeah, we're excited. We already have some stuff on there, but we're gonna put everything on there. And
that's gonna be awesome.
Just let people buy it for a lot more affordable, and we're excited to be able to do that. So
yeah. Plus, I think that gives you. I mean, just from my perspective, I think that gives you a bigger audience too, and you got people going to HomeDepot.com. I mean, and it starts suggesting TurfMend, people that may have not otherwise heard of you. So that's awesome that you guys are.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm excited about it. So
yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's awesome. See if we have any other questions other than see what this one is. Why mix the seed? Why not straight bluegrass or straight rye?
So we have straight ryegrass and we have straight tall fescue. The bluegrass, I like to put a little rye in there just to get it up and germinated and prevent weeds from coming in. Eventually, the blue will take over. So that's why we put a little bit of ryegrass in there. So.
Yeah.
And
I
think Brian asked the question, how can you find anybody who wants to work? That's why it's just me and the company. We have a third. Barenbrug does all of our blending for us. So
yeah, definitely hard to find people that actually want to work nowadays. But yeah, I will say I've had experience, I think, with just the fescue, the straight fescue, and the stuff comes in good, and it mixes well into my yard. I know I'm majority fescue. I've just been overseeding the last several years with fescue varieties. And this stuff always comes in great, and you can't really tell where I ever plant it. So I love the look of it and the fact that it's quality fescue seed. Take care of 50 yards by myself. I'm assuming that, Brian, you're talking like you're a contractor.
Landscape company.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing it part-time, you either got to quit your job or quit your side job and go full-time.
Yeah.
You got to commit. It's scary. Like when I quit my job to do this, I was very scared and very nervous, but I think you got to commit to it.
Oh yeah, I bet. Because I mean, I know I've told some people this in the past, but I'm back in college. I actually worked landscaping. Almost came to the point where the guy wanted to sell me the company when I graduated, and I decided not to go that route. And yeah, I will definitely say it's definitely a hard, especially with that many accounts on your plate to get into.
He does it
full time. So I wonder, Brian, are you talking like take it to the next level and opposed to what?
I think he wants to hire somebody, maybe.
Oh,
I think it's probably pretty hard to find someone you can trust to come into your family business. So just make sure you hire the right person.
Yeah, easier said than done.
And you hire one bad apple and it could rot your company from the inside out. So that's
exactly.
Hire the right person. Be careful.
Yeah, so I know I've done like last year I did a video on TurfMend, and I know that I have more TurfMend this year, but I just kind of wanted to give a little update on some spots that I'm testing on this season. So this was a spot that we redid when they put in the sidewalk at my house. This was just kind of settled over time. So I wanted to fix this year. Thought this would be a great spot to put in the TurfMend at. So this is one spot. I just put down some topsoil. I think I planted this on May 1st or April 29th, April 30th. I can't remember, right around that date. But then we had a cold snap after I put this in. We ended up I did get the germination, but it took a little longer. I know I said in the past, I think last year I used the tall fescue blend of TurfMend, and we had it pop up. I think it was 5 or 6 days. I forgot to go back and check before we did this, but it was really quick because it was in the middle of summer in the summer heat. This one was 8 days, and I think it was just due to the fact that we got that cold snap. I did put it down in some more spots of the yard, and it's warmer now, so it'll probably shoot up here pretty quick. So we're about 3 weeks post plant, and I just took this right before we went live. So I mean, it's definitely filling in very nicely.
It's coming. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just slowly but surely, and it's a bad spot anyway. So after I planted it, I had leveled it off because that spot always flooded.
Nice.
They didn't fill it in very well with topsoil when they did the sidewalk. So, I mean, it definitely is filling in nicely. So I'm really looking forward to that area not flooding anymore. But it's filling in really good.
Next week should help. It's going to be nice, I think.
Oh, yeah. It's going to get really, really warm. So it's definitely thickened up even in the last week or so. And then I had planted some more areas throughout the yard, and I'll keep people up to date on that. But definitely good quality stuff. And I've had good luck with it so far, and it's awesome. Like I said, I didn't know that you were branching out into Home Depot, so I think that's a game changer for you guys, into getting a bigger audience of people and sticking with that.
Yeah, we're excited. And another thing we're working on right now is after living here for about a year, I saw zoysia grass. I didn't really know much about it, but takes forever to recover, and most people just put sand down. So we're working on a recovery mix for that. There's no seed in it, but it's going to have compost, and it's going to have some kelp in there and some humates.
That's nice.
We have it, I think right now it's in probably 9 or 10 different states, 15, 16 properties. So we have it at some MLS stadiums, Major League Soccer stadiums for Bermuda. We're going to try it with that as well. We have it at a lot of high-end golf courses, some municipal soccer fields as well. So there's so many people golfing, and the divots aren't healing up. So I think if we can find a way to help heal up warm season, I think for Bermuda and the shoulder season, it's going to be pretty effective. And then zoysia all year round. I think
it's awesome.
I think it's going to be a pretty good opportunity to help these guys out, just make their lives easier. So
yeah, absolutely.
Keep it updated, but I've got 5 more samples going out tomorrow, and we even had the cool thing about doing this is some of the people that reach out, but a PGA Tour agronomist reached out about this product when I posted it on Twitter, and so that was really a big honor, just to have somebody from that level reach out. And so he sent to one of the courses he works with, and looking forward to seeing how that goes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what percentage would you say is I know you're primarily geared and you started out with like golf courses and stuff. So I know that the like residential homeowner business is probably pretty, like what's the split? Like I know you're geared towards that market.
Yeah. So before the pandemic, we were mainly school districts and municipalities, and then COVID hit, and golf took off again, which is a lot of businesses struggled, but the golf industry, it revitalized it because people were outside more. The same with the home lawn care thing because people were working from home. There are seed shortages, there's fertilizer shortages because everyone was doing what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then no one wants to work, like Brian said in his message. How can you find anybody that wants to work? And so, golf courses nowadays, they're raising their wages, they're shrinking their crews, and because of that, they don't want them doing monotonous jobs like mixing divot mix, right? Because we have green sand, and we have peat moss, and we have grass seed, and so instead of them dyeing the sand green, and then putting organic matter in it and mixing seed, and usually wasting seed, they're buying it from us, and our prices are expensive, but if you actually add the labor and add the time and add the materials, it actually doesn't equal to be that much more than what they're paying. So COVID was good for us, and we've really kind of probably 80-90% golf now. And then we do sports fields and municipalities and landscape companies and homeowners. Homeowners are our smallest, but I want to try to change that and get into more retail stores. So it's hard to compete with Scott's and Pennington. Like they're such good at marketing and advertising, and everyone knows them. Like no one knows TurfMend, right? Like people know me in the golf industry, but homeowners don't know anything about it. So it's hard to break in there, and they've got such a stranglehold in the box stores and the retail stores, so it's really hard to get into those.
No, that's it. Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, a lot of people, like you go to the store. Most people, when they have an issue like that, they go to the store and they see whatever the first thing on the shelf is. And when you have a company that's kind of flooded the market with
everyone knows Scott's.
them, around forever.
They're really good at what they do. Scott's is. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we had talked. I mean, and it's a lot harder when everybody, because ultimately now most people look at price. And I mean, you'll get people that look at quality, but I think that at least for me, I like to make sure that what I'm buying is quality and not just junk that I'm gonna have to redo over and over again. I know when I put this stuff in that it's going to take off and come in good, and I'm not going to have a ton of issues with it and wasting money. So it's been nice.
So we live in southern Indiana, Evansville, and then our products manufactured in Oregon.
So he's in Indiana, down in Evansville. So same state as me. Different time zone, though, that I learned.
Different time zone, yeah. I think we're like 10 minutes south of the time zone.
Yeah. Let's see if we got any other questions here.
Not yet.
So, I guess I'm just looking at my notes here. I mean, definitely it's been awesome working with you, Jeff, and having the ability to try this out and use it in my yard and see the results. And I love sharing. I've shared with several people. I know I got a couple project lawns this year that might be trying this out at some point as well on some dog spots and some other things.
Yeah, how's that going? You took someone's lawn over and.
So I got two people this year. I took on two, so we'll see how it goes. It's been pretty good so far. Nice. So I had a bunch of entries, of people that wanted to do it. So it's cool for me because I just like helping people out. And, it's just we're gonna see what we can do with their yards, and it's awesome. It's been going good so far. We've seen lots of improvements, and we got some spots that we could probably fix in a few of them. So I still got some TurfMend left over, so we'll see. waiting to see and make sure I don't have any issues more in my yard.
I can send you
Definitely
if you need it.
got a lot of stuff to test out. Just keep showing people that it works and that it's a good product. So
Yeah, that's the best part about this is I get to go and to all these cool places and help all these people out. You know, and that's the best part. You get to go and help solve a problem and make their life a little easier and move on. So,
yeah, definitely. That's why I love doing that. So I'm just getting the comments back of, people helping, like they appreciate your help and stuff like that. So how much seed is in the bag?
it depends on the product, but for those, the ones that are going to be in Home Depot, it's 8% grass seed. So,
Right.
so
And then are you selling the sand products there or just the
no,
compost?
the shipping's too crazy on sand. So
Oh, because it's a lot heavier.
yeah, so the bags are 50 pounds. We used to sell them on our website, but the shipping this year, it's like $150 across the country now. So I can't.
To ship a 50-pound bag?
So UPS and FedEx put an extra bump on 50 pounds or heavier. So
Well, isn't that nice?
I mean, we can ship a half a pallet across the country for $200. So to ship one bag, I can't feel good about selling that to people for that price.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's not good at all. But,
Yeah. Like we have bent grass and there's 1 pound of seed, but bent grass there's between 4 and 8 million seeds in a pound. So
it spreads a lot. Yeah.
in ryegrass there's 400,000 seeds in a pound. So it's a lot. And then we put 4 pounds of seed in our sand product with ryegrass, and it's not even as many seeds as the 1 pound of bent grass. So
Right.
kind of hard to compare. It's not really apples to apples. So
Yeah.
we put enough in there for the rate we suggest to people. So.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I never. There's plenty of seed from my experience in the bag, and I think it's a great mixture of. You guys do a good job of mixing, having enough seed and not overdoing the compost. I mean, there's always enough. And this year, like we had talked about earlier, we talked about how you made it dust free. So I know last year I think I was covered in the dust when I put it down. And now it's like you can just scoop your hand right in the bag and throw it down on the spots, and it's super easy.
Yeah, we teamed up with a really good granulator, and they produce a good product for us. And I think the key to success is having people around you that are smarter than you and have better ideas. And so we work with a lot of really smart people, both at Barenbrug and the compost company, and so I think it's been good, and it's been a lot of fun. So
yeah, definitely. I've just seen how far you guys come in just the last year since I've started, trying out your stuff and working with you. So it's been awesome to see you guys grow, and definitely love the small family owned type of businesses and seeing small business like you guys succeed in the marketplace. So that's what I'm all about. I like to see that happen.
I mean, Tall Fescue in Indiana, at least in northern Indiana. I think the sports turf mix I like a lot because it has a little blue and rye in there as well. So if it was my yard, that's what I would buy. And then if you want to buy it, you can still use Lawn Lover 10 is your code, right? So you get
yep.
If you go to our website, you can use Lawn Lover 10.
Oh, I think it's LL10.
LL10. Yep.
LL10. So that'll save everybody 10% off, and
it's free shipping. I know the prices are a little high, but if you go to Home Depot, the compost, I believe they still have the older compost, but it's only $90 for a 35-pound bag. So it's just shipping. Home Depot gets better shipping.
Well, yeah, they shipped a lot more. So
yeah, they do a little more volume than we do.
just a little bit.
Just a little. Just a smidge.
That's the perk of the big company, but that's awesome that you can benefit from that. So
Yeah. So
definitely makes it a little nicer for people to get their hands on it for sure. But yeah, like right now, you like Jeff said, I mean, use that promo code and save yourself some money if
yep,
you
it'll
want.
ship out. If you guys buy, it'll ship out tomorrow and UPS ground. So probably 3 days to Indiana.
Yeah, you ship really fast. I know when you ship me stuff, it's usually here real quick. So um, I never had an issue with that. But
Northeast Indiana. I'd buy the sports turf up there.
the sports turf mix.
Yeah, I mean it's 70% fescue, 20% blue, and 10% rye. The rye is probably gonna eventually peter out during the summer, but I think
Yeah.
fescue and blue is a pretty awesome mix for northern Indiana.
And I think those mixes are awesome too, just because a lot, I mean, even my yard, I mean, unless you're really hardcore and you plant a certain variety of seed, most yards aren't going to be 100% the same thing anyway. So,
And then even if you're buying the same brand, the varieties typically change.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
people are like, well, I only buy this brand, but usually just due to demand and how the crops go, or if they, you know, they come out with a better variety and it scores better on the NTEP, they're going to change and get different technology. So it's going to be pretty hard to have a mono stand of one variety of grass. It's just
yeah.
pretty difficult. So
That's why I've never.
honestly, it's better to have a few because some are
Yeah.
going to be better, and that's why we do a three-way mix. You're just
Yeah.
going to be more successful. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I like having about a variety because I'm not 100% tall fescue by any means, but I like that look and it kind of blends well in with the rest of the stuff I got. So definitely that, like you said, that mixture of seed is a nice option to have and
I
mix
think
in.
that sports surf mix has like 8 or 10 different varieties of top quality grasses in there. So there's Turf Saver RTF, there's HCT bluegrass, and then there's the RPR ryegrass, and I think we'll get a good standard grass. So.
Yeah, that's awesome for sure. Just checking the comments here.
I don't see anything else.
Yeah, I don't see anything else. Well, if we don't have any more questions in the comments here, I just want to say thanks, Jeff, for coming on here and giving a background of TurfMend to everybody. And I think it's going to be helpful, especially when people, because even when I post stuff about TurfMend, people will ask me what it is, and it'll be nice to have a reference with some background from you, from the source of the company and what you guys stand for, and all about. So appreciate you coming on here and doing this. Definitely.
What's your opinion at the best height to cut grass in northern Indiana in the summer? Like 3.5? I cut mine down to 3.25 or 3.5 in the summer.
Yeah, I usually will mow and I think it just depends on your mower. Like my mower,
preference too. So
yeah, definitely preference, and like I'll usually mow 3.25 to 3 3/4. I'll do like 3.25 in the spring and bump it up a little bit in the summer. So I mean, it's like you said, personal preference. And then if I start having issues with fungus or anything like that, sometimes I'll try to cut it down a little lower and let it air out a little bit more. But hopefully, I don't have that problem this year.
I don't have an irrigation system, so I know you don't like Kentucky 31, but I actually interseed.
Right, I don't have one either. I just I got the old manual rigged up. System with the timers and stuff. But yeah, I mean, irrigation systems are a whole nother beast in relation to. We want to talk about stuff that's expensive. That's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. I think when I looked into it a couple of years ago before COVID, it was like for my 7,500 square foot yard, just to do the front half of it, like 5,000 square feet, it was going to be like $4,500 to $5,000. And I was like, no, I'll run hoses around. I'm not going to mess with that. But I mean, I've used the K31 before in I know. Yeah, I forgot that you had said something about that when I posted that.
Like it's not all Kentucky 31, but
Right,
I mean,
right.
the stuff is bulletproof, and I travel a lot, so
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
you definitely got to do like, yeah, you're in a much different situation than me. I'm like, I think it all depends on, like, I always tell people that ask me questions, I think it all depends on your ultimate goal with what you're trying to accomplish. Like, do you want to, are you going to be out, how much time you have to put into it?
right.
I mean, if you don't have time to go out there every couple days and do something to it, like I'm usually out there doing something every day or two. Um, Now I have to rely on my wife with my foot, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, she doesn't ruin
Get some
everything.
crutches and walk out
I was, I tried to hobble out there earlier, so it
there.
didn't work well. Now I'm back sitting down. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's just like I said, ultimately what your goal is, how much time you have, and if it's you want something low maintenance, just definitely go for seed that's going to work for whatever you're doing.
I mean,
Um,
like, there's so many good grass seeds out there. Like, everyone's like, oh, Barenbrug, or they like Barenbrug, or they like Mountain View, or
yeah,
DLF Pick Seed. They're all, the technology is so amazing in grass seed right now. So I think you probably, if you're going to buy a professional grade grass seed from anywhere, you're going to be happy with it,
yeah,
honestly. So, like, you can check NTEP trials, but even those, people have different opinions on what looks good. So, I mean, NTEP's a good resource, but I don't know if it's necessarily the be all end all. It's just going to depend on what you like. So
yeah.
that's
Yep, and I've used several different varieties, all from Scots to, I mean, the blue tag seeds to everything in between, and I've had good luck with a lot of them. So
yeah. I mean, they're
I always caution people to stay away from the cheap stuff at the store that's like the annual seed.
yeah.
It's like I made that mistake once before I knew a whole lot about grass seed. Like, didn't
I
use
mean, Kentucky 31. You're right. It's like it's a field grass, right? So you're not going to get the fine
yeah,
turf tall fescue look. So I think for Indiana, if you can get a blue tall fescue solid mix, I think you're going to be
yeah,
really successful.
yeah, and also depending on the size of your yard, I wouldn't be
Right,
spending thousands of dollars on grass seed to plant
right.
out in my yard if I had multiple, 15 acres of grass to take care of. So
Yeah.
just my small little plot here. So is what it is.
Yeah, it looks good. Like the
Yeah,
picture.
we're getting back there. I burned it off. I bleached it out with herbicide a couple weeks ago. We're finally back to almost normal again. So there's a
Picture.
new herbicide that I hadn't used before. That was a mixture, I think, of like dicamba, triclopyr, and tenacity, mesotrione, and
Yeah,
said,
tenacity bleach is pretty good.
yeah, well, they touted that it wouldn't bleach, but I went out there a couple days later and it did everything to the instructions, and yeah, that was sucked. So
Yeah.
luckily we're back to normal. It just took a couple weeks to
Throw some iron down and you'll be good.
there. Hey, I will say I didn't paint it though. I've never been one of those people that goes out and paints it. So
Yeah.
some of those people paint their grass.
Yeah.
Not for me. I'll
Down
just,
south, superintendents are doing that more and more instead of overseeding.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh,
Just
I
cheap.
bet.
So.
I bet. Probably too. It cuts you down on water costs. So
Hmm.
you get into those hot months.
Yeah, there's a lot of water restrictions nowadays. So.
Yeah. Luckily, we don't have to deal with that here in
No.
Indiana, so that's good for me. Well, I don't see any more comments, so unless you have anything else you want to talk about,
No, I appreciate it. I'm gonna go
no,
see some nice golf courses in Illinois this week. So excited.
awesome, awesome. Well, yeah, I definitely look forward to following along when you post stuff of where you're going and stuff
Yeah.
that you're doing. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been pretty big honor. Like I get to go to all these cool places, and in the summer I get to take my kid, and
Yeah,
everybody is really, really, really nice and generous.
yeah, that's
And,
really cool. I saw when
yeah,
you had posted about going to some. What was that? You went to Kansas City.
Yeah, I went to the Kansas City soccer stadium, and then last summer I took my son to the Chiefs stadium, and
Yeah.
we went to the Wichita baseball field, and I mean, it's just I never really would have dreamed this would turn into this, and it's been pretty humbling. It's been awesome. So
Yeah. That's awesome for sure. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and like I said, that's really awesome that we were able to talk a little about TurfMend and answer some questions. And I'm sure more questions will come in after this post to YouTube. So if I have anything that I need to ask you, I'll definitely get a hold of you.
Yeah, give me a call.
We'll go from there for sure. But thanks for being here, and I appreciate everybody else that joined in. And like I said, if you want to hop on to their TurfMend's website, go check them out, turfmend.com, and you can kind of learn more information about TurfMend, and see what.
Yeah, use this code, 10% off everything. You want a sweatshirt or whatever?
Yeah, really nice. The new sweatshirts that he has are really nice, and the hats. So definitely
also a lot of hats.
Awesome stuff for sure. All right, Jeff. Well, I appreciate you taking the time tonight on a Sunday and talking about TurfMend.
Yep.
All right. Have a great rest of your night. Thanks everybody for joining in.